amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria. Remember, they will always change the narrative. The government will always try as much as possible to use the conventional media to change the narrative, but that I will not allow. In this platform, we'll set the record straight and we'll say it the way it is. Not preaching hate speech, not by talking down to anybody, but setting the record straight and bringing the information to the front burner and letting the world know the exact situation of things. Each time you watch my video, you can equally go to the comment section, put down your comment, say it the way you feel it. It's so welcome. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can be able to learn from one another. That is why I'm here. And now, I'm going to share with you a very important video. I hope after watching the video from the beginning to the end, you're going to enjoy the video and you continue to stick around and be able to enjoy the rest videos that are going to be coming your way from time to time. Thank you so much for coming. Today, the video I'm going to share with you is a very important video.
Anthony Ahilebo, thank you so much, Mr. Ahilebo, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Shehu.
How do you feel about the emergence of Senator Ayu?
If you know the history of PDP, Shehu, you will know that PDP was initiated by a group called the G39, G9. They are the original founding fathers of PDP. And Senator Ayu is one of those people. So he embodies what PDP is about. He embodies the reason why someone like myself, a young man, came back to Nigeria from the UK after getting my law degree and felt that the PDP was a party that I needed to be part of. So if you remember, I sort of nursed thoughts about running for the office of National Publicity Secretary during this last convention, but because of the zoning, it was zoned to the southwest. And in the larger interests of Nigeria, I remained in the party and I still stand with the party's decision. I see this NWC as composed, as the future Nigeria deserves. Senator Ayu, I have never met him before, but I have heard of him. I am confident that PDP has the kind of leadership, and if you kind of leadership it needs. And if you remember, Shehu, on this same venue, this same show, I assured you, when you put the question to me, that was the PDP ready to get out of the problems that we sort of encountered a couple of weeks ago. And I told you that, Shehu, PDP is built with a lot of shock absorbers as follow-com, if you want to use the right balance. A follow-com. Our follow-com is solid. You can see our convention. There was really no contest at the convention. There was more of consensus. People, it sort of flowed from the spirit of Nigerians that, listen, just get your act together. So when I fly through the airports, anywhere I go, I just come back from Lagos from the convergence that Yaga had, 3.0. So everywhere I went, from the hotel lobby guys to people say, PDP, please, just come back. We need you people to come and take back Nigeria. Come and rescue us. Everybody's asking for PDP. They don't even understand where we are today. Shehu, as of 2014, there was a list that came out that had the 10 most profitable places to invest or countries to invest in Africa. Nigeria was sitting at number 2, just right behind South Africa. That same list came out a few months ago. Nigeria is not even on the first 20. It's not even on the front page anymore. So we have lost our place of reckoning as a country. And I think it's because we have an inexperienced set of people running a political party that does not even function as a political party, that are at the helm of our affairs, who seem to be unable to coordinate themselves to take this country where it's ought to be with the kind of resources,
if you say
that we have as a country.
If you say that, I mean, it's actually debatable from the point of view of those whom you are referring to, the APC. They will tell you that the PDP led Nigeria into the rut of 16 years, and that's what they are trying to fix.
That's
the rot. Just a moment. That's the rot that's led the country to this point. And that's the conversation that the APC will give you.
So, one thing I have become very certain of in life is the consistency of data. It doesn't lie. Our GDP at the time when these guys took over, our debt profile when they took over, our mortality rates, our happiness rating in the world, our poverty index, as it were, from 2014 to date. So the data is not lying. The data is all showing that we've gone 25 years back. So out of 2014, 2015, our debt stock was about, let's say, between 9 and 11 trillion. Today it's almost 30-something trillion, 38, as at the last time I checked. And you think that one should remain as a citizen of this country and be happy. So within the last 6 weeks, do you know what has happened to Nigeria on the international scene? We've been put on a red list. We had no business being on. And the kind of response from even our foreign office...
Red list because of COVID-19.
Yes. So, and I'll tell you something. When China, when the first SARS virus was discovered to have emanated from China, they didn't suffer the kind of repercussions we suffered with this red list, putting us on the red list. I feel that we should have come up with I'm hearing that they're planning to retaliate. Right now, we do not even have a direct flight from Dubai to UAE to Nigeria. We already have issues there. And the thing that amazes me about this government is that they don't even think about the implications of their actions on businesses. Twitter is still suspended in Nigeria. This was a means that Nigerians the government had failed in the last 6 years, had failed them totally, had seen an alternative with Twitter to raise income. The Nigerian government banned Twitter because of it.
So invariably, you're saying that your party seems to have found its voice and perhaps fixed itself and ready to help Nigeria. Is that what you're saying?
So, PDP as is poised is a party in government in waiting. There's nothing that can be said. Nigerians are just waiting for, in fact, all we're waiting for and hoping, like you said, that the president will sign. In fact, we've started seeing tricks of them saying he refused to accede to the Electoral Act amendment, which we know he hasn't, and we know that we're hoping that he will sign so that we can have an election where Nigerians clearly give APC the red card they need to. They got it in 2019 as far as I'm concerned, but let us even just emphasize it in 2023. Let us be clear to everybody that, thank you very much, you have come, we have seen. When you came, we had dollar at 190. Right now, dollar is at 540. The pound was at 250. Today, it's 710, which is, I cannot even understand how a government could be so careless as to lead the country into where it is today. Insecurity. You cannot even, I keep saying this, and I think I've gotten the right word for it. The mental state of Nigerians when they travel the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. And we're going to have a lot of mental issues. So we need to be prepared for the future because this government has created a lot of health issues that Nigerians will face in the future because of the carelessness of how it has handled its affairs.
So you've been talking about your neighbors, the APC. Let me allow Aliyu Abdullah, who has since joined us. Aliyu Abdullah is a chieftain of the APC and a lawyer. Thank you so much, Aliyu, for joining us. It's good to see you again. Let me start by asking, you heard what Senator Yocha said, that the APC should start preparing the handover notes. And they've somewhat shown you, because I wouldn't say it's a red card, somewhat like a yellow card, because this game of this half is not over until 2023. First and foremost, let me get your view on what Senator Yocha said.
All right. Thank you, Sean. I read what he said in the meeting or convention, or I don't even know what is it, but you see, the irony of the entire thing of what the chairman of PDP said is actually not lost on some of us. And even it shouldn't be lost on Nigerians. If you are someone who is following the happenings of things in this country, you know very well the antecedents of everyone in this game. Senator Ayu is among the people today in this country who has actually helped in plunging this country to where we are in the very aspect of the insecurity that everyone is crying today. It's on records that he is one of the recipients of the Dasuki's Get Money, a $2.5 billion that was actually meant for the purchase and procurement of arms to prosecute the war on insurgency and other...
You have evidence to that?
Yes.
You
He
have
has
evidence to
actually
that?
confessed to that.
That
True.
he did
Yes. You can check it right here. I can actually show you on my phone. He confessed to that. He said he collected the sum of 345 million from Dasuki, who was the national security advisor then, actually. And Dasuki was standing trial and still standing trial over that issue of the money that was actually meant to purchase arms, which was actually squandered, frittered away by PDP, by the then government of former President Jonathan.
I mean, interestingly, you are a lawyer.
Yes.
And you know the implication of talking about people and talking about figures. And if it's not substantiated.
I stand by what I said. This is something that he himself have confessed. He said he collected this money to actually offer consultancy.
You heard him say that?
Of course. You can just Google it now and check it. He confessed to checking it. He said he offered services as a consultant to politics, that he has some special skills when it comes to politics and politicking in this country. And it is in that vein or on that basis that he collected a sum of 345 million that was meant to actually prosecute the war on insecurity in this country from Samba Dasuki, who was then the National Security Advisor. I don't know when.
But the matter is still so I'm not very akin to that conversation. So I wouldn't want to.
It's a public knowledge, and he has actually confessed to that.
It would be good if that is substantiated. I don't have the facts.
Beyond reasonable doubt.
But
you see,
but
so let me continue.
The question is:
yes.
Is your party threatened about a statement made by the new chairman of the PDP?
I don't think so.
That you guys should start preparing your handover notes.
I don't think so, and this is why. And you see, of course, sometimes it's only natural and normal for people to forget where they're coming from. And we are here, some of us, who will not be tired of reminding Nigerians where we were coming from, and even the reasons, some of the reasons, largely, why we found ourselves where we are today here. And it's largely due to the actions of PDP. There is any single doubt about this. 16 years, this country failed to invest in development. This is the reason why we're witnessing what we're witnessing today, Sheun. Let's face it. People just don't jump up to go into criminality. Why are we where we are today? It's a development question. Much as it is a security concern, but it's at the root of it is a development question. And if we don't tell ourselves the truth as Nigerians, to find the actual root cause so that we can work towards solutions, we will never be able to find the cure of what we're facing today.
So
let me tell you.
So Aliyu, is your party as marketable today as it was in 2014?
See, it is, and it's a different type of marketing that will happen.
Are you afraid that the PDP will give you a run for your money in 2023?
Afraid, not the right word.
Are you worried? Are you
concerned? I will speak for my own self.
Are you concerned?
I think
that you have a tough time in 2023.
I think it's only natural. One shouldn't actually, you shouldn't even discard, to be honest, you know me by now, shown a lot well. Just like Tony Ahilebo knows me, I speak the truth and I will tell you how it is. See, it would be foolhardy for anyone to say they would not be concerned about an opponent in any race, whether be it game, be it politics, you will have to actually be concerned about someone who is opposing you.
Yeah, you're concerned basically because the promises you made and what you have delivered, is that what gives you worry?
No, not really. Let me tell you what.
You think Nigerians are satisfied? Just a moment. You think Nigerians are satisfied with what you sold to them and what you have delivered today?
Well, the jury is out yet. That's number one. And secondly, well, you see, you cannot win it all. You cannot win them all. Some may actually see through the lens of the proper propaganda machine that PDP, the opposition, is deploying. They will see the actual work that is being done. Some, they will have the veil over their eyes. And if they don't have people like us to help remove those veils, they may not see the difference and the work. So that is the situation. That is where we are currently.
You don't think Nigerians appreciate what you're doing in the APC?
Some naturally do. They see the differences, they see the gimmicks, you know, that the PDP are employing, and all other enemies of this country. They see the clear demarcation. Some do not, and some of the work will actually reveal itself as time goes on.
Should President Buhari, I mean, of course, definitely President Buhari will not be on the ballot.
Yes, but he's concerned for
his legacy. Is that a concern for worry for your party?
See, it is not, because just like we have President Buhari in 2015 and 2019, we still have other capable hands that will continue and even hopefully surpass the work that we started. The rebuilding of this country from the deep pit that PDP dug and put this country into. We are just rebuilding it. We just started the work. So the work will continue, and we hope that Nigerians will see that it's painful. Let me tell you, it's painful. It's easier to destroy. It takes a little bit of time to destroy everything, but to build back, it's always a Herculean
That's what the
task.
APC, I mean, the PDP said they want to do. That's it. They said they want to rebuild this country.
Someone that destroys cannot be a builder.
Let me allow you to come back.
So I think I do not hold brief for the national chairman of PDP, Dr. Iota, Senator of the Federal Republic. But I think I must make a rebuttal at this point that we did not come here to discuss the personality of Senator Iota. And if in any case, that is the case we are here, the matter which you raised lies within the area of propaganda, because APC has failed woefully to prosecute and conclude matters around corruption, including that of their former SGF, Babacha Alawa. So let us not even use corruption to take away the problems that Nigeria faces. It is an amoral sin against Nigeria to be corrupt, and the party PDP does not stand for corruption. And I do not see where Senator Yotayu was indicted by any legal framework.
The APC had labeled your party as a corrupt party.
You know that is, APC is adept in propaganda, and that's why they have failed.
That's what I thought. They say your party.
You see, you cannot come into government on propaganda and run government on propaganda. The result will come out 6 years after.
It's not true the label APC plays on your party.
No, I think when we have a government that has had to change its SGF, has had to sack several people from its employer after the country has become glaring to everybody that they are a corrupt government. A party that has dipped Nigeria into so much loans, and we cannot see for any reason the effects of these loans on our roads. The train they set up breaks down so frequently on the rail track. We cannot guarantee the safety and security of Nigerians. Who are you telling to come and invest in Nigeria? When everywhere in Nigeria there's corruption. If you see the consulates, the kind of reports they send to their people, travel advisory they give as against Nigeria. And my friend will sit down. I know, Aliyu, before you started working for this government, I used to know you. You weren't looking like this. But you got into government, and somehow you have taken to it. These are the things that you used to speak against. When we will come to channels those days, you will speak up against these things. And there are people within the APC, your friends that I know, that even when they come to China, they try not to talk too much because when they leave the station, they come and tell me, Tony, the truth is that we are all suffering. We don't know how we are going to get out of this problem. We are suffering in Nigeria. If we are changing Naira, 1 Naira to $540, my dear brother, that's not something you come out and say that PDP put.
Suffering
Listen,
in
in 1999, PDP took over. No, because you're giving him time to respond.
Yeah,
let me just respond to something quickly.
I started with you.
No,
So
let me make a point.
Yeah.
Because he alluded that PDP put Nigeria into a mess. In 1999, let me make you aware. PDP took over from the military. The dollar, as it was steady. We had the highest crash of petroleum prices when Obasanjo took over. So they don't understand the complaints when they make comparison. We had an economy that didn't exist. The PDP created this economy that these people have destroyed. In 6 years, we have never seen anything as, they are like termites. They have eaten through everything we left. And I think the best thing for us to do is to take back Nigeria and rescue Nigeria from the hands of these incompetent people. Who do they have? Look at all the people we had as our finance ministers. We had Okonjo Iweala. Where is she today? She's the DG of World Trade Organization. We had all the people we put in government. Femi Adesina, where is he today? He's the president of African Development Bank. So when we pick people to run our government in PDP, we pick people with a sense that we knew could deliver. I cannot tell you for the life of anybody that we have anybody in the APC I can tell you today is a star boy. The only person they had, Amina Mohammed, ran to the UN because she knew she was sick with this government.
Let me allow Aliyu to respond to that.
Thank you. You see,
first, I wanted to ask you.
You're all right.
Is a Nigerian suffering?
See, now this is a difficult question to answer.
But is
Nigerians
it
are suffering.
because it made that
Nigerians are
statement.
suffering.
So I wanted to.
We are suffering. No,
Nigeria
you can be living in the villa
let
and
me
enjoying.
tell you something. Why I say this is a difficult question to answer. Number
It's not
one,
difficult.
I don't believe there is any even country in the world that you don't have their own citizens, some part of their citizens that are not suffering. And there is no time in this country that some citizens of Nigeria did not suffer and we are not suffering. Let us get that fact on one part of one side. That's an answer. Some definitely are suffering, as they have done that in the past, and also as people in every part of the world are suffering. So let's get that. So it's not a courageous to use the term suffering to determine.
So the lives of Nigerians are better now than the APC met it.
I believe so. That's my own, and I can walk you through. But before walking through, let me answer Tony on a few of the things. In fact, in his rush to actually do, he even got some of these things wrong. He said Femi Adesina, it was Akin Adesina. Anyway, so, but let's continue.
Thank you that you even know, sir.
So he said, he was talking about the crash of the currency, the Naira. Now, Sheon, when the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, of blessed memory, passed away, he left a foreign reserve of about $66 billion to former President Jonathan. Former President Jonathan, with that foreign reserve, he was lucky in his time. He sold crude oil at an average of $100 per barrel for 2.1 million barrels a day for 6 years. Yet, do you know how much foreign reserve he handed over to President Buhari? It was just 6 years back. He handed over a foreign reserve to President Muhammad Buhari of $27 billion. From 66, he inherited from late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, even though he sold crude oil at an average of $100 per barrel, he did not, they actually, we don't even know what they did with that gap from 66 to 27. Now, why am I talking about foreign reserve and these figures? Because he mentioned the currency depreciation, right? Now, I'm telling you why it is so important to talk about this foreign reserve, because the function of your currency as a country is largely dependent on your foreign reserve. The bigger your foreign reserve, the stronger your currency is going to be. And the weaker, I'm coming.
Gentlemen, because we're due for a break.
The lower,
I can tell you what crashed the naira.
The lower your foreign reserve
What is this guy talking about? He's telling me about
the currency is going to be.
your reserve determines your currency. How is it possible that you are saying this and you work in the villa? How?
Just a moment. We're due for a break. We take a break.
Anyway, that's what's happening.
Well, some of the conversations that we'll be having tonight, I told you, was one of the things that the president said, that he will hand over a country with a legacy of good elections. Also, we're looking at the issue of the shadow cabinet that the NCS said they have formed to put the government on the toes. We'll hear more about that when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Sometimes I wish that the conversation of the camera can be captured for those of you at home too. In fact, it got heated more than when we were on air with both of the gentlemen who are here in the studio with me. Anthony Hileba, a member of the PDP, and Ali Abdullah, a chieftain of the APC, and both of them are lawyers. The disagreement basically was on the issue of the economy, and I love the fact that when we have conversation on issues of policy and governance, whether you're doing it right or doing it wrong, and that's the reason why Ali, for example, the PDP, said, you guys are not getting it right. Let's come. You told Nigerians at the time in 2014 that the PDP was a mess. They don't know, have the understanding that and how to run government. That's one the reason why Nigerians voted for the APC. But they are telling Nigerians the same message you told Nigerians at the time, that you have gotten it all wrong, that you need to pack out of the villa so that they can take over the affairs. So you are explaining the reason for some of the economic policies of this government and where we are today.
Exactly. And you see, the major reason why we're where we are today, you see, because every day I'm from the northern part of this country. So you can imagine I am very familiar and aware of the kind of hardships in many respects that my people are really going through in terms of the insecurity challenges that is facing the region. So, but I asked myself the question, what is wrong? Where did we get it wrong? And what are the factors? And I have found out the major question is the development question. Because governments at all levels, not only federal government, and not only this one or the immediate past one, but for a very long time, they have failed this country, Nigeria. We have refused to do the right thing, and what was the right thing? To invest in the development of this country. At present, there is a steep and serious competition of scarce resources by the people, because we didn't invest in infrastructure for a very long time until this government came around. We didn't invest in social amenities, health, education, transportation, rail, everything. Nothing was being done. The only legacy that PDP bequeathed to Nigerians, and which is the only thing they are banking on to return to power, thinking that the people will be so myopic as to forget the major things. That legacy they bequeathed is the legacy of sharing stolen and looted public money that is meant for developing this country. Politicians will leave Abuja almost on a weekly basis. They will go to the nooks and crannies of their respective states and constituencies. They will spend this money. People that don't have work, that are not productive, they collect this money.
Right.
And this is the legacy. So money was flowing.
Anthony, I'll allow you to
Money was flowing
quickly.
because of that. But that money was meant for the development of this country. And this is where we are today. Because we didn't develop this country.
6 years
we
after.
spent that money, we looted it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years after. This man is still blaming everybody In fact, they've blamed Libya. They've blamed everybody for their problems. They've come back to PDP as the cause of them. In 1999, PDP inherited a country that was far worse than they are imagining now. Because as at the time they took over power in 2014, 2015, after that election, Nigeria had enough in its goodwill capital. Let me tell you why, when this man tells you that dollar is against, we had that conversation, and I told him that, unfortunately, the reason why the dollar price is right was simply demand and supply. We had short supply of dollars, huge demand, consumption of those dollars, and that drove up the price. But I'll tell you a story. In 2015, when this people's government came in, for 6 to 7 months, President Buhari refused to appoint ministers. There was a huge dip. That was towards the end of 2015, early 2016. There was a capital flight from Nigeria that we have not recovered from since that time. That was when dollar went up to 400 and came to 300 and it never went below 300 after that dip, because there was loss of investor confidence in Nigeria. It's not enough dollars coming into Nigeria. We don't produce enough. This government has not even worked on policies. So there are simple things you do to free up your economy and allow for investors to come in. When investors are seeing that you're taking a hard stand against free speech, when investors see that you don't even care that more than half of the local governments in Niger State have been overrun by bandits, and that it took you over 2 years to classify bandits as terrorists so that the security apparatus can go after them as they are, then you have these problems. And we had to cry. So we came on this show several times, continue to tell the president, Mr. President, change your security chiefs. He not only left them there until their tenures expired, and then he still made them ambassadors, considering the kind of havoc they had committed on the country.
Let me bring in Professor Patutomi into the conversation, because Prof is a member of the National Consultative Forum, a group that come out this week to say they've declared or they've set up a shadow cabinet. Professor Patutomi is a political economist. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we wanted to bring you earlier on the program because of the network issues, but it's good to see you now. Prof, why the issue of the shadow cabinet? There are so many issues in the land. What will this achieve for us?
Nigeria is not being governed. And if you look and just listen to the conversation that you've been having, it shows you the tragedy of the fact that it's a triumph of politics. Nigerian people are hardly in these conversations. Political parties don't have programs. They don't have exactly a direction to make a difference in people's lives that they have set up. In that kind of situation, you can only get what we have today in Nigeria. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, whether it's PDP, APC, the truth of the matter is this is the most miserable place to live on earth today. All the statistics say so. Overtaking India in terms of absolute number of the most poor people on the planet. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation projections suggest that between Nigeria and Congo DRC, we're going to be giving the world 40% of its poorest people. And these are two of the most endowed countries in the world. Why are these things happening? This last week, World Health Organization released malaria figures. More people are dying. It's like Nigeria is in multiple civil wars. They're dying from insecurity with all the killings every day. More people are killed in Nigeria every day than in most of the major civil wars of the world. Then it comes to healthcare. The malaria one is incredible. Do we know the policy of the PDP on malaria? Do we know the track of the government? What do they think about malaria? Is there when President Obasanjo first came, he had a rollback malaria program. And today, we are dying more from malaria than any other people on the planet Earth. This is very simple. It is because there is no opposition in Nigeria that can speak alternatives, can deal with the big major issues. Not you stole, we did not steal. I mean, these things are all pedestrian. We know that Nigeria is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. It's gotten worse. Statistics are all there. So we don't even want to. How do we come up with ideas, big ideas? Not talk about big men. How you said that? Chiku said that. It's not about big men. It's got to be about big ideas to make the lives of people better. And we're not seeing that because the political
Prof,
parties
you said something that is a bit. I know you're not flippant. You say things and you say them intentionally. When you say Nigeria is now more corrupt,
absolutely,
what
numbers
exactly
are there
do you
to
mean
prove
by
it.
that? Can you expatiate on that?
Did you see the numbers? Did you see the numbers just this week on leakages out of OECD figures about corruption in West Africa? You don't even have to try. You can see it every day. You know, what pains me is that many of us threw everything we had into this business because we thought we were going to create an anti-corruption regime. And we've ended up with a more corrupt regime than I think we have ever had in Nigeria. I can prove it. I can bring you the numbers from everywhere, OECD reports, and so on and so forth.
Need to be educated tonight, because yeah, just like you're one of those who said, look, you put in everything, and we all thought that, oh, this is a government that came out to say it wants to fight corruption. But when you say that this is perhaps the most corrupt that we have seen in ages, then it would be good to educate us, Prof.
I've just given you a few of the sources. Just this week, OECD reports about several African countries and the fact that there are more leakages and more, from these countries there. There was a report on West Africa a couple of months ago, which I think I mentioned when I came on here the last time, that showed exactly the same things, that corruption is increasing, not decreasing in Nigeria. And that is a big shame. And, this is really because I think people have not come to look at the real effect of corruption. It kills. I mean, when a 21-story building comes down, assuming people were living in it, it will slaughter. And this is because of corruption. This is because we don't keep standards. We don't do things like that. And it's Nigeria writ large. It's not PDP, it's not APC. We need as a country to sit down. It's not a matter of blaming this or blaming that, to say, how can we save our country? We have a collapse of culture. Our values have gone so south that any fair-minded person, and why does it happen that way? Because we have state capture. Politics has been reduced to how do you capture the state and use for your own aggrandizement. If politics were not about state capture, you would see people who come out, give sacrificially of themselves to achieve immortality, of making a difference in the lives of others. But that is not the case that we see in our country, very sadly. If discussions about politics, oh, who will win? Ah, that man, he has kept 500 billion for presidency. You don't have enough. How can you build a country? A person who keeps 500 billion to run for president, I'm a professor of business, don't forget that, Sheung. He's going to get a return on his investment. By the time he begins to get it, there will be nothing to run the country. And this is what has unfortunately happened. We have not been able to reform the political process, to get money out of politics, to get people who should not be in politics. Look, and I can say this, a very respected professor of law on the program, an LBS program months ago, Professor Koinsola Ajay, he said, maybe we should prevent everybody who has held public office since 1999 from participating in public life, because the culture has just polluted the country. We need to begin again. We have forgotten what politics is supposed to be about. It's about power.
If I may cut in quickly, sorry. The politics as dirty as it's portrayed or is being depicted is unfortunately the only option or the alternative that our constitution, the ground norm, has given to us for us to have leadership in this country.
But
that is the only way by which we can seek hope in this country, no matter what situation that we have. So how do we get out of here? Because your group, the NCF, is talking about the third force. And we've seen a few people also whom have, from what you said, Professor Koinsola Ajayi has described, that maybe those who have been in politics in 1999 should be excused out of the thing. But the question is that the thought first, or the NCF itself, what hope are you preaching that Nigerians can catch such that you can tell Nigerians that this is what you have as an alternative to what we have on the ground today?
I'm concerned about systems and processes that can make things work, rather than talking about people and those kinds of things. What is clear is that you take the example of South Korea. South Korea was saved from a fate like ours because it had an electoral commission that said, look, this thing with money politics and all this not working for our country. The electoral commission of its own decided that the way that people should run for office should be through debate at every level. You debate on the streets, you debate in classrooms, you debate on television, and people's ideas about how to change the world. I'll just give you an example of malaria. Malaria is wiping us out as a country. What is the policy of any political party on malaria? I can tell you that that has been developed. The idea of the NCF and the shadow teams is to get clusters of thinking people into areas and in a collegial way take on healthcare issues, education issues, general economic policy, and so on and so forth. And these teams, what the teams will now do is a service to society above and beyond everything else, not just politics. Every week, literally, they will take a position against whatever government has done. They will take a position offering an alternative perspective. I can tell you, for example, on malaria, that there is a vaccine that is efficacy more than 80% being tested it's been tested in Nigeria, in Haiti, in Rwanda, and part of the thrust of policy from the health team is to say, look, a big part of our strategy must be to include a malaria vaccine and get rid of malaria, which, as you know, many economists have argued that the reason that we are poor in Africa is because of the malaria effect, which is the original reason that President Obasanjo brought the rollback malaria program. It was part of Jeffrey Sachs' counsel that Africans are unable to produce because they are often weakened by malaria, and that's why it's not a competitive continent. I have argued against that, in other situations, to say policy is more important than geography or destiny, which that tends to suggest. But we recognize that malaria is a major part of the problem of production in our country, and our country suffers because it does not produce. So these kinds of issues, we want to see political parties have clear planks on everything like that, from education. I mean, we know most of the conversations around how human progress has taken place. Focus, for example.
Sorry, I'm cutting in again.
Healthcare.
So the big question is that we're looking at what is presently obtainable in Nigeria under this present government and the alternatives, the policy alternatives that the NCF and the shadow cabinet is going to be bringing on board. But let's look at it in this way and try to, perhaps in the mind of Nigerians, find a solution ahead of the new election, the coming election year, because they will be able to make a decision. How would you describe the situation of things in the country based on the promises made by the APC government in 2019? Would you say it is failed? So from that moment, we can then start looking at opportunities of fixing it, whether or not they're on the right track in fixing the present predicament of the country.
Sharon, the Nigerian condition is tragic. It's nothing short of a crisis. Problem with Nigeria is the Nigerian politicians, and I would say in general, I generalize that on the go PDP, APC. Nigerian politicians don't even have empathy for the Nigerian people. If they had empathy, you would see it. Look, all these numbers that we are throwing out about the poverty rates, if politicians were really politicians, the fellows who run around running Nigeria were politicians, they would respond in terms of their behavior to the fact that poverty is the #1 thing ruling Nigeria. But look at the motorcades of governors. Look at presidential jets as they fly around the place. It shows that there is a complete disconnect between the political class and the people, and the pain that the people suffer. Look, President Obasanjo as head of state, military head of state, oil prices come down. Things look And he says, look, we're going to cut our coat according to our cloth, not according to our size. And he comes down as president to push your 504. And that's what he wrote as president of Nigeria, and everybody else was 504 down. But look at the lifestyle of politicians and compare it with where Nigerians are. Every day, all I get is alerts from people. Even when I don't have, I think, where can I get to this person? Because poverty rules this land. But do you see it reflected in the behavior of Nigerian political class? No, you don't. And that is the real problem. Once you can capture the state,
I don't know, because we are totally
okay.
out of time. If in 30 seconds you can tell us, what should Nigerians be hopeful about? What is a way out? What is a solution? In 30 seconds, if you can do that for us.
Nigerians must take back their country. This is a class of politicians who believe that politics is a politics for politicians by politicians. You know, in the interest of politicians. We would like to get civil society more active. The problem of Nigeria is the complicit middle, the middle that sits and watches and prays against these people. No, they should not pray against them. They should stand up. Look, the voter register in this country is such that how many percent of the population actually even register? How many actually vote? Everybody should mobilize, go there, vote out the political class that does not care about the people, and vote themselves in. And let's create and build a new country that can lead to progress for all of the peoples of Nigeria, not for politicians who are looking to acquire the next billion.
I wish that we could extend this conversation pretty much. I think we should create an avenue where we can have an extensive look into this conversation, because now we're thinking about leadership for the next general election and how to get away from this conundrum that the country has found itself. But I must sincerely thank you, Professor Poundstone, for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you.
Supported this government, and it sort of did not even carry him along in their government. He was actually an APC candidate in 2019, and he lost out at the primaries. It just shows you that this government does not value intellectual prowess. But I have this to say to him. The new PDP you see today, as you heard the chairman, has welcomed everybody. We are looking for people like Professor Patutobi to come into PDP and advise and say this is what we're doing. That's how open we are, and we have better plans for Nigeria.
30 seconds, we're totally out of time.
Thank you. You see, the major issue was actually what Senator Ayu said, whether they are ready to take back government in 2023 and that there won't be APC in 2022. I said there is no chance for that. Nigerians are wise, and when the time comes, they will actually see through what we have done. We will come on our track record of what we do, and PDP will also face theirs.
Thank you so much.
This track record.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you, and remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.